Britain, while students were enjoying their summer off, a debate has been raging in education circles over the quality of what American youngsters are getting in those schools. It's an old debate with a new twist, the twist being a best-selling book entitled Cultural Literacy by college professor E.D. Hirsch. The book has drawn praise and criticism from educators. What has attracted the most attention is the book's appendix, entitled What Literate Americans Know, and consisting of a list of 5,000 items. Under the letter G, for instance, you'll find Galileo, gallbladder, Gallup poll, Greta Garbo, gay rights, generation gap, genetics, and the phrase, gather ye rosebuds while ye may. Our education correspondent took the Hirsch list to the Washington Monument, where he tried it out on a cross-section of teenagers. Question number 1, what is Genesis?
A group of singers.
A book in the Bible. It means the beginning.
Genesis is a rock group. Yeah.
Jennifer?
It's a certain portion in the Bible.
Okay, what's it mean?
I don't know.
Means the birth. It's a rock group. Phil Collins.
Cultural literacy, to E.D. Hirsch, means being familiar with the common knowledge that educated people take for granted, the ideas, facts, and assumptions that make up the culture. Cultural literacy means knowing that Genesis is the biblical story of creation. It means having some familiarity with important historical events and dates. 1861 to 1865.
Wasn't that around Columbus?
How about 1861 to 1865?
1865. Nothing.
1861 to 1865.
I think it was a Civil War. I'm not sure.
Maybe the first depression of the United States. I don't know.
Let me tell you who was president then.
Okay.
Lincoln.
Lincoln. Oh, man. You can't put this on television. Okay. The Civil War.
Shared knowledge, like knowing when the Civil War took place, is the glue that holds society together, according to Hirsch. It provides continuity from one generation to another and enables scientists to talk with steelworkers, politicians with poets. Hirsch fears that in future generations, the glue will come unstuck. A recent study of 17-year-olds reveals that 66% do not know that the Civil War occurred between 1850 and 1900. 75% could not identify Walt Whitman, Henry David Thoreau, E.E. Cummings, or Carl Sandburg. And 50% of high school seniors did not recognize the names Joseph Stalin and Winston Churchill. How about Hoover?
Hoover. A dam.
Anything else?
Nah. A street.
Who's it named after? Hoover Dam.
Edwin Hoover. I don't know.
J. Edgar Hoover. It was a Hoover vacuum cleaner. Hoover. Nothing.
Who's J. Edgar Hoover?
I don't really know.
The Madonna means what?
Music singer.
Anything else? Tell me about her.
Madonna, there's something else that has to do with Madonna, and it is historical, but I could not tell you what it is.
Cultural illiteracy threatens the fabric of society, Hirsch believes. Individuals also suffer. Those who only know Madonna as a rock star or Hoover as a vacuum cleaner miss their opportunities to move up. And it's not their fault, Hirsch believes. He doesn't blame parents or television, divorce, Vietnam, or Watergate. He blames the schools. He's particularly critical of the way reading is taught in elementary schools. Too much stress on skills and not enough on content. Hirsch wants young children to read culturally rich stories, Grant and Lee at Appomattox, for example, instead of culturally neutered paragraphs like, what is friendship? But not everyone agrees with Hirsch. His critics say his views are elitist. They ask, what information constitutes cultural literacy? And, perhaps more importantly, who decides?
We have with us to share his views on education and cultural literacy the author of the book, Professor E.D. Hirsch from the University of Virginia. What is the difference, first of all, between cultural literacy and plain old literacy, which is being so much stressed these days?
Well, plain old literacy is the ability to decode the words on the page, and you can have that kind of plain old literacy without being able to read a newspaper or a serious book or article. Cultural literacy is a part of what I would call real literacy, or true literacy, mature literacy. That is the ability to understand serious materials, that you need to be a citizen or even to rise in the economy.
Is it your belief that all high school graduates in this country used to be culturally literate?
Well, certainly we know that they used to be more culturally literate than they are now, because we have solid evidence from the National Assessment of Educational Progress that fewer students now can read at an advanced level than could 15 years ago. We know that the scores on the verbal portion of the scholastic aptitude test have gone down in the last 15 years. It's clear that national literacy is declining, and not just among the lower class students, but also middle class students, and among those, the very brightest.
Who needs to be culturally literate?
Well, I think any citizen does in a nation. In the advanced technological era, we all need to be culturally literate because we all need to be literate.
If you don't know who Galileo is, for instance, what difference does that make?
It only makes a difference if you're reading a serious article or book that refers to Galileo without explaining who Galileo is. You see, another way of describing cultural literacy is to say it's that knowledge that people take for granted when they write for a magazine or a newspaper. And Galileo, I believe, still is somebody whom you would encounter without having explained to you who he is.
How do you change the schools to achieve the levels of cultural literacy you think